And I mean, yes, occasionally we'll check Instagram out just to have our live sessions, whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, I found that I can't. It's not for me. And I'm saying this because I know there are people who know us personally who are watching the podcast, and maybe they thought, "Oh, Prince is such a righteous." It's not. I'm not righteous. I'm not holy.
You're just fighting, bro.
I'm fighting. You know.
We were together. We were working, and yes, my heart was jumping, bro.
Yeah.
Hey. The heart was doing somersaults and backflips.
Breakdown. Your brokenness was
on
breakdancing.
Fire.
Yeah.
The muscles in my neck were weak. Who's there? My wife.
Sure.
I pulled my wife to the side, bro. Girl, you need to lift up hands. It's tough today.
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's good, beautiful people? Welcome to 2.5 Husbands, where we celebrate becoming better husbands.
It's 2.5, even though there are 3 husbands, and that's because at some point, one of us, if not all of us, was not fully the husband that we were supposed to be.
And that's why we actually come here on a weekly basis to discuss some of the issues that we face, some of the issues we are seeing around us, and we hope that the journey that we started with you and for you is going to benefit you,
and yours.
Hey, what's up, family? Black here. On behalf of 2.5 Husbands, we want to say thank you, Raleboa Sbongile. Thank you so much for all the support, the feedback, for engaging with us. Currently sitting at 460 subscribers, and we are hitting that 500 mark soon enough. So please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit that notification bell so that you are notified every time that we release a new episode. Shout outs to you for walking with us and celebrating us becoming better husbands. And we want to give a very special shout out to all the husbands out there who want to honor marriage, love their wives, and be present for their children. We know that it's not easy, but it is an incredible joy to do all of those things, man. So shout outs to you guys, and shout outs to the wives who are holding you down, right? And everyone else in your communities and this community as well. And so you might have seen from the title of this episode, we are speaking about lust. We kind of had a similar disclaimer when we spoke about sex in season 1. And so we just want to again say we are mindful of who you are as people in our community and your experiences when it comes to the area of sex. And 2.5 again meets at the intersection of relationships, real life, and humor. And we want it to be, again, authentic to who you are as we respect who you are as people who watch us, support us, engage with us. And so we want to say, let's be mindful as we watch this episode. And just a disclaimer, if you have any kids and you watch our content with your kids, we don't say anything dodgy, we don't think, but we want to be mindful of how you raise your kids and not exposing them to conversations that you might not have had started with them already. So please be mindful of that, and do engage with us at the end of this episode, and leave your thoughts, leave your comments. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. And do hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time we drop. All right, 2.5. See you at the end of this. All right, peace. Somebody asked,
can you lust after your wife
in marriage?
I don't think so.
Why not?
I mean, I would have to. I don't know the word lust in its original lexicon.
Hey, come on, in the Greek.
Kadi lexicon.
Kadi Greek.
I don't know what Sister Miriam would say about the meaning of lust, but I'm like,
what do you know lust to be?
I'd like to think lust is wanting, in a very simplified sense, wanting something that is not yours, or an extreme desire for something that is not yours. And in the context of this conversation would be sexually. So I think that's what comes to mind. I did not look at the definition.
But if your wife is yours, shouldn't you want her extremely?
Yeah, but I can't say I'm lusting after her because she's mine.
Yeah, but you said you want something that's
not
yours, but she is yours. So don't you have extreme desires for her?
I do have
Because
extreme.
you said you want something that's not yours, like, extremely.
Yeah.
So you want your wife extremely.
Yeah, but she's mine, so it's not lust. For it to be
Becau-
qualified as
because
lust.
she's yours.
Yes. That's my
okay.
body.
Okay.
And this is her body. Even though it's gaining weight, but
Come
it's her
on, huh?
body. She loves it.
Yeah. She's
She
still
loves
attracted
it
to
chunky.
She wants a dad bod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say it's an extreme desire for a person or an experience that is outside the context of marriage. Lust. For the sake of this conversation.
Yes.
What would you say?
I would say lust has itself in mind, not the other person.
So, okay, get self-love. Lust is self-love. Are you saying love? Lust is a...
Nah, it's sexually wanting to satisfy yourself with someone else. So you don't care about the person. You don't care about the act of sex.
Yeah.
And you just selfishly wanting to satisfy yourself.
Yeah.
And you would go to any lengths to meet that desire.
Sure.
As long as you are taken care of. And I think it is part of what you had in your definition is wanting something that's not yours. Right? Yeah. Hey fam, sorry for cutting in while you're still watching this episode, but we just wanted to bring some clarity on our definition of what lust is. So what we did there is add two components. One, saying that lust is a strong desire for something that is not yours. I'm not sure that's entirely true. That ventures off into the categories of envy and being covetous. But I think lust has to do primarily with perverse sexual desires. And so wanting to satisfy yourself, wanting to abuse the gift of sex solely so that you can take care of yourself. Sex is not designed by God for one person, but it's designed for two people who are married in that context. And so lust would be taking that gift of sex and abusing it. So any form of abuse towards the gift of sex, particularly wanting to use that to satisfy one's sexual urges and desires without considering the gift itself or even considering the next person, in this case being your spouse. And so we just wanted to throw in that clarity there, even as you continue watching this episode. So thank you.
So, I mean, it's easy to have this conversation outside the institution
Of marriage.
of marriage.
Yeah.
Then you get inside.
Yeah.
You know? I heard, I think it was you that said the devil's, what? The devil wants to take, the devil wants to bring single people or unmarried people into bed, and he wants to take married people out of bed.
Yeah.
And we won't talk about the single people going into bed because we are married. It's 2.5 husbands, right? And let's talk about the married people outside bed.
Yep.
But also then zooming out, and not just outside bed, but I'd say anything that happens outside what should happen in the bed.
marriage bed, yeah.
So looking at how lust manifests.
And maybe to qualify that, it's the marriage bed.
The marriage bed, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, no.
Yeah,
we live in a very nuanced world.
'Cause,
The marriage bed, yes. So speaking about anything and everything that happens outside the institution of marriage, outside the marriage bed, that means that even if you are in the matrimonial bed, but your wife is not there, it's still wrong. Even though it's in the marriage, don't catch us on technicalities now. Even though it's in the marriage bed, if it's not with your wife and it is not centered on service,
Yeah.
it's wrong. So let's speak about that.
And
no?
I think that's probably the best way to set up this conversation. Right? When we're speaking about lust, it is a tactic
Yeah.
to end your marriage. Right? It is.
Yeah.
It is. And so, I mean, maybe I left that hanging when the person asked if I can lust after my wife. I was like, you can't. Like, I desire my wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Can I be selfish in in abusing the gift of sex in my marriage,
Yep.
and not acknowledging my wife and wanting to serve her in our sex. Yeah, and that's sinful.
Yeah.
That's selfish. Yeah, but
Sure.
she's mine.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to, and I'm hers. I'm hers. Let me put that out there.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to have sex. So I don't think that those categories allow for the definition of lust. Lust is, yeah, primarily selfish, but wanting what's not yours.
Sure. So I think when you look at lust over the generations, I think lust has always been there. But I would go as far as to suggest that what we have seen over the years is that there's a growing multiplicity of ways in which it can manifest or express itself. Right. We live in a time now where going out to the mall is just as dangerous as, I don't know, seeing something pornographic on TV. How do we as husbands navigate the world that we live in right now when we look at our interaction with the world? So I want us to maybe start from the outside, and then we'll kind of zoom in. When you look at you as black, you wake up in the morning, you get out your house, and then you go out. Are there things that you are conscious of that you need to bear in mind as you interact with the world around you? Or for you, is it just the thing of, whatever happens, happens. The only thing, I just want to make sure that I don't cheat on my wife.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and maybe to say that, I don't know how we zoom in, because this conversation happens with the outside world.
Sure, okay.
Because I think the primary goal for lust is to take you out of your marriage bed. And it's so, and the only way to take you out is for you to go outside.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so your question is, as we interact with the outside world, how is that affecting the purity of our marriage, and therefore the sustainability of our marriage?
Yeah.
So I have to be aware of that, bro, all the time, because again, and maybe let's say this: lust does not exist out there; it exists in here, right?
That's
And
a good
then-
place to start.
Yeah, and then it's when I go into the world that there's certain triggers in the world that awaken what's already in my heart, right? So I don't.
So lust is not the other person.
It's not, bro.
It's
It's
not
not.
the person trying to trap you.
No.
It's not the person showing whatever.
If you're a thirst trap, be a thirst trap all you want. It's okay, right? That's between you and your maker. Angenda, what I mean, right? But will the thirst trap be a trigger? Sure, right? But what is the thirst trap triggering?
Oh,
Something I should be fighting. Something I should be intentionally putting measures in place to
Yeah.
force it not to awaken. Right?
and it's good you mentioned that, because there are people that don't have that struggle. I mean, they've got other struggles, but you
Yes.
find that maybe to the same degree, or they're just like, okay, it's not as big of a deal, at least in the way in which we express it.
Yeah. And I think again, there's many triggers that bring that thing up. It might
Sure.
not be a primary struggle for you,
Yes.
but it doesn't mean it's not there. But
It doesn't mean it can't happen.
I would venture off to say that a majority of husbands have the struggle with lust.
Because we are male.
Yep.
Amen. All right.
I'd
So
venture off and say,
grandchildren of Adam.
I'd
in a
venture
world-
off and say, bro, majority of us, bro, struggle with that. Do our wives struggle with lust? Yeah, sure. But I think majority of men do. Why? Because we're wired to be visual beings.
Sure.
Right? We are visual creatures.
Sure.
And part of that wiring is supposed to be used for the benefit of our marriage. Right? So if I'm wired visually, when my wife is banging, that's supposed to,
Trigger you.
because I'm wired that way.
Trigger love, not lust.
Yeah. And that is the clue that helps me stay in my marriage. Right?
Sure.
And so, and women are wired more more emotionally than we are. Doesn't mean that we don't have an emotional intelligence, but if we have to compare, right?
Yeah.
Women are more emotionally intelligent than we are, even in tune than we are. And so that would, if that's taken care of, that's the glue that helps them stay in marriage. And for us, we visually wired more than women.
Yeah.
And so if that's taken care of, that's the glue that helps us stay. So I would venture
Sure.
off to say that most men will struggle with lust. And there's many triggers. Doesn't just have to be the mall. Right?
Yeah,
Could
yeah.
be my cell phone. Right?
So I actually wanted to get to that
Yeah.
because I also don't want it to look like I'm asking you answers.
No,
But
it's cool.
Like on my side, I'd say yes, definitely the whole wiring. I'm like, it's a thing.
Yeah.
You know, as the reason why I'm married to my wife. It's what got me to even starting the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean that alongside
The other
what I
deep
see,
things.
the character. But in the streets, it's the wiring that got me to the point where I even wanted to speak to my wife, wanted to get to know her,
Yeah.
and then obviously it led to me wanting to know her intimately.
Yeah.
So I'd say definitely amen and amen on the wiring. But I wanted us to speak about the different, I'd say, categories where we have to, I'd say, protect ourselves
Yeah.
and protect our marriages
So the triggers, yeah.
when it comes to lust, right? And that's what the first one I started with was the more, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember, I think Maf and I, Simba, were speaking a while back, and I was like, I really love winter because I'm just like, there aren't as many triggers.
Hey, man.
Then,
Okay.
because, yay! A lot has changed. A lot has changed since then. I'm like, it's too cold, my sister.
Yeah.
It's way too cold. It's way too cold. But the point I'm making is, I was like, I enjoy winter because I do feel like it's easier for me.
Yes.
In terms of the triggers, where I'm just like,
Yes.
I mean, we're all covered, bro. So, sharp. As a visual being, as a man, I do feel like I found that solace in winter. It's cold. And I'm also mostly indoors. So I'm like, I don't want to hang out outside. I just want to be at home. So I would say that, like, for me, I found that to be very helpful when it comes to the outside world and how I protect myself and my marriage. In this case.
So the reason why I interjected there, and I'm glad that you obviously said for you, you know, because I know for other dudes, it's the opposite. Because
because you're covered.
then the mind runs
Wants to
wild.
pursue.
The mind undresses
Shucks.
more, right? As opposed to seeing, right, somebody who's dressed in a way that's revealing. For other men, it's like, okay, whatever, man. Right? There's no thrill.
Sure.
There's no. I don't have to, try and undress you walking and you've exposed yourself, etc., etc. And I want to say this as we talk about this, bro. Again,
Yeah.
let's be blunt. Women can dress however they want to dress.
Cheers to that.
Dress however you want to dress.
Cheers to that.
That's fine. That's your body. That's your prerogative. That's your life. Again, it's between you and your maker. Are there women who leave their house and dress intentionally so that they can attract men? Yes, there are. It's your life, girl. Do whatever you want to do, right? I'm responsible for my heart.
Amen.
I'm not responsible for how you dress on the street.
Amen.
But I live in the world and I am going to interact with people, right? I'm going to go to the mall. I'm going to go to the spa and see Sipati with her eyebrows that are on feet. But I am not in any way saying because I have struggles that now somehow Sipati has to cover her eyebrows. That
I see a comment about modesty in the comment section coming up as well.
Yeah, sure.
which
We
we'll
can
probably
have
at some
that
point-
conversation
yeah.
at some point. I'm having a conversation with my wife about how we both dress and present ourselves in the world.
Yeah.
That's between us and our God and what we're doing. Hundreds, right? I need to be mindful in how I dress. We mindful in how we dress. Yes, there's other things that inform how we dress, but we are mindful of how we dress. That's between us and our wives, our community, our maker, etc. So in no way am I saying that people should now be mindful of how they dress just because I have
of
struggles.
the men's and their wiring and their visual.
Unless you're a woman who cares about that and you are mindful of that and you dress in a specific way, that's still fine. But
Yeah.
that's not and I think that's unfair for me to say because I have struggles, then I'm throwing that on
Yeah.
dog.
That's trash. We needed to clear that out.
I need to fight my
Yeah.
own struggles.
Yeah.
Right? And then to answer your question on that, how do I then deal with, walking in a mall where there would be various people dressed in revealing ways that are not revealing, etc., 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 right? If my heart is not in check, right, one, with God, secondly, with my wife, right, then I'm doomed. Right? I'm doomed. I'm a man. Lust exists in my heart.
Yeah.
Do I see women who are attractive? I do. Right. So my thing is, I need to fight not to entertain those urges, those thoughts, those desires. That's where the fight is. Right.
It's that whole you can let a bird fly over, but nesting is a different channel. Yeah.
Hundreds, bro. Right. And so the outside world, and I think I forgot what episode we were chatting. I made this comment on, but I was like, man, if I'm at the mall, I could tell you how clean those floors are.
Yeah.
I know how clean
Yeah.
or how dirty certain malls floors are.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm like, yo, man, it's okay. The people will do whatever they do. That's not my issue. My issue,
What you can control.
what
There's
I should.
controllable. Yeah. What you should
What
control.
I should control.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, I think, another attribute of what true masculinity is.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I think weakness is wanting to say, hey, you need to dress up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Why? Because it's harder to control myself. But self-control is saying, yo, man, it's okay, bro. Right? I need to make sure I'm subduing this thing, right? You're not gonna have control over me.
Over me.
I'm gonna control you, right? This is me speaking to my heart.
Sure.
So I'm like, yo, when I'm outside, dog, there's a friend of mine who's like, bro, the muscles in my neck are strong. Why? Because I will keep that neck. Right? I will keep that head down with that neck, bro. Right? My head will be down because of my neck. I'm like, dog, if we're gonna be part of the neck squad,
Yes, sir.
that's who I bees, bro.
Yes. Giraffes
the-
worldwide.
We here.
So I've recently heard of a concept. Well, not recently, but I think in recent times it's been challenged. Bouncing of the eyes, right?
Yes.
Which is that whole thing of if you do see a woman or if you do see a man that maybe triggers sexual thoughts, like quickly bounce your eyes. And I mean, at first I was like, it sounds wise. I mean, obviously because don't look for too long.
Yeah,
I mean, the first look is like, okay, sharp.
Yeah.
That's not in your control.
Yeah.
The second is the one where we start questioning. But then people started saying that if you bounce your eyes, are you not disregarding the image of God in the other person?
Suga.
I kid you not, bro. They were like bouncing. Why are you bouncing eyes? Why don't you see me for who I am? Why are you limited to what I'm showing?
I love my wife, and I love God. If there's an image bearer that I need to be staring at, if I'm not with her right now, she's at home. That's why.
Okay.
You're nuts.
So you bounce the eyes.
I don't.
You don't bounce the eyes.
So to your point of first look, right?
Yeah.
And for those who don't know what we mean, so I'm walking at the mall. I'm just gonna be walking. I see people, right?
Sure.
It's fine. I cannot do anything if now, and I use this very cautiously and carefully again, if a thirst trap just walks out of, Vodacom and I'm just walking, right? So if they walk out, first look is I was just walking and I saw you.
Yeah.
Right? And then I need to consciously make a decision to turn away because if I stay longer, this thing called lust in my heart is going to wake up, it's going to overtake me, and I will veer off into thoughts that I don't want to entertain. Right?
Sure.
And so then the second look would be, I saw the first time, I realized what was happening. I did not turn, but instead I stayed. Right?
Sure.
So second look would be that.
Yeah.
I'm a first look guy. Right? So if I see number one, I'm gone. Dead, bro. Dead. And I know my heart.
Yeah.
I know my struggle. I know my heart. I'm a first look guy. So that's why I will look at the floors. I'll look at the floors. I'll look at the mannequins.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be...
Hey, but even these mannequins sometimes. I'm like, you can't run away from it. You're just like, ow. Atung pep stores. Ow, akabenzi lwena.
Yeah. Hundreds, bro.
Yeah. I hear you.
So I'm like, yo, man, let's not do that. And obviously the conversation will progress.
Yeah.
Because then the next question is why?
Sure.
Why are you even fighting this thing? Why?
Sure.
You know? But we'll get there. You know?
Sure.
So
no, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think I'm definitely with you on that one. Yeah, but I think I'll probably delve into this a bit later on in the chat. But definitely, I don't know. Maybe also because staring is weird for me. I'm just like, yo.
bro, staring is weird.
I don't even like eye contact. Let's start there. So I'm just like, also now staring at the same, like, yo, yeah. Anyway, but I actually wanted to say this. I realized very early on, I'd say about like 10, 12 years ago, I wouldn't do the second look thing or the,
Yeah.
you know.
Because the muscles in your neck is weak.
Here's the thing though. It was, so I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not gonna give her the benefit. My pride was literally the reason I was just like, I'm not gonna do it. Who are you?
You must look at me.
Daddy's right. That is why Daddy's right. So I realized I didn't do it because of that, but God has been working in my heart.
Yeah.
So now it's for holier reasons. But anyway, okay, sharp. So we've moved away from the mall situation, right?
Yeah.
The other context that we find ourselves with is visual media. I don't want to limit it to a cell phone.
Yep.
I don't want to limit it to TV, anything. Because nowadays we watch anything from TVs. Now people are catching us on technicality. iPad.
Yeah.
Yo, man, it's the same thing, dog.
Everything.
Like,
Visual
I have a
media.
TV, I have a projector. Hey, ASCII 4K. But visual media.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I say that because we had a conversation. We have this conversation frequently when we look at the culture and stuff. And we're like, what is on TV now compared to what was on TV early 2000s?
Just 10 years ago, bro.
Just 10 years ago. I'm like, hey, if you ever doubted that the world is not progressing, in that sense, I'm like, wow, there's been a lot of progress for the negative. And what we find is that there is a lot more, there's a lot more pornographic material. And I'll use that because I think it encompasses all of them. There's a lot more pornographic material in music videos, in movies. Like it's everywhere, you know, in advertisements. It's just that's the reality we live in. And we'll hear the expression sex sells, you know. So whether you are advertising water, whether you're advertising handbags, I mean, a lady in lingerie has to feature, you know. I'm like, it's just
You're selling nappies. How does this connect?
It's a coffee flavor. It does not need lingerie, you know. How do we protect ourselves from that as well? Because we do find ourselves watching something at all times, you know.
Yeah, and maybe let's do this because I said we're gonna get into why. You know.
You want us to start with the why? Or why we have to?
Yeah, I think it just gives more color to, you know, the protection. So
Sure,
how do we
sure.
protect the thing? But I think understanding why first.
Okay.
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
I think I know marriage is important. I love my wife. And it's easy to think I can do the do's. Buy the flowers, take my wife on a fancy vacation, give her nice shoes, you know, show up at home on time, take the kids to the park, you know, make sure that the budget is looked after, There's bills that are paid. In one sense, that stuff is not easy, but it is easy if you are running away from a struggle that I think is bigger than just paying the bills, taking your wife on dates, etc., right? And that bigger struggle is being completely, and I use the word intentionally, completely naked with your wife. And being completely naked with your wife means that you are open, even if not especially with your struggle with lust.
Sure.
Because I am not just loving my wife by all these other things I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah.
I need to love her even when she's not realizing that she's being loved.
Ooh.
And
I
that's
thought,
why I am fighting lust.
yeah. I thought you actually gonna say you don't just love her with what you do, but also with what you don't do.
Even that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Even that, bro. But my wife has to be loved even when she doesn't see it happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Does she see me fighting my lust in my heart? She doesn't see that. Right? If we walking together at the mall, I'm looking at her, I'm looking at the floors, I'm looking at the lights, I'm looking at the clothes. She's not thinking, oh, look at him, just, fighting the lust. That's not what she's thinking.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But in that moment, I am loving her.
Sure,
Right?
sure.
I am loving her. I'm prioritizing our marriage. I want to look at my wife and let my love flow out of me to her as purely as possible.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not perfect. I'm gonna do that imperfectly, but I do not want to love my wife. And let's be blunt here. I don't want to love my wife while I'm thinking of Sipati.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
the most unloving thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that thing taints your posture and your approach for your wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It does.
Sure.
And the more you entertain that, in the long term, that's how you leave the marriage bed. Right? Because your mind was never there. Your heart was never there. Right? Your mind and your heart and your eyes.
And it all started with the thought.
It all started with the
I'm like, you look at any broken marriage.
Yeah, bro. People don't leave the marriage bed because I woke up today and I felt like, I just want to try something else.
They start by cultivating certain thoughts.
You at the mall, you're seeing stuff. Again, it's not people's fault that they dressed however. They doing their life. Leave them. But when that trigger happened, right, instead of you addressing it and saying, shucks, man, I can see the potential of where this thing is going to lead.
Yeah.
So let me kill it now.
Sure.
Right? Kill it. Don't nurse it. Don't entertain it. Don't just kill it, bro. Right? Going back to our conversation of male headship. If I'm gonna lead my wife with grace, I'm gonna love her. I'm gonna sacrifice. I'm gonna put her first before me. I need to exalt, champion her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to do that when she's not looking. I need to do that when
Sure.
she's not seeing. And that is also through how I battle with my own lust.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Because if I don't kill that thing, I'm not leading. I'm
Yeah.
not being the head. I'm not, right? I need to destroy it. I don't need to flirt with it. I don't need to play with it.
Don't think it's not that deep.
Yeah.
It's just a thought.
It's bro. I mean, it was just one time.
Revolutions start with just a thought.
Mfana, wars just
Wars
start
started, yeah.
with thoughts, bro. Right? Like, again, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it fell in one. Right? You didn't build your marriage over a day, but it collapses one day. Why? Because you've been, right? Over and over, and then one day the thing collapsed, bro.
Hey.
False. Right? And people are gonna be like,
What happened?
What happened? We're just sitting here and the house collapsed. No, bro, the termites have been chowing, dog. Right? Slowly, bro, eating away at things. Right? The foundation has been cracking, leaking, but you haven't. It's just a little hole here. It's just and eventually the thing collapses, bro. So I'm like, yo, man, if I'm gonna love my wife, I need to love her when she's not looking, dog.
Yeah.
I need to love her when it's not apparent, right?
Sure.
When I can't buy the flowers, when I can't take her on a fancy holiday, when I can't buy her the shoes, when I can't do all the elaborate stuff.
When you can't get the medal.
Yep. I need to be like, yo, man, my wife I need to know that I'm loving my wife even when she's not there.
Shucks.
Because, bro, that's where the thing falls, bro. When you're alone and you entertaining thoughts, when you outside and you seeing things, and then you double play those things in your mind, and you double tap on those things, and you zoom into those things, and you go home and you're carrying those thoughts, and by the time you see your wife, because life happens.
Sure.
You get home, she's been cooking, she's been looking after the kid. She doesn't look impressive in those moments. She had a hard day at work. She hates her boss. She hates this. She's having a tough time. And you think, man, this thing looked better outside, bro. I'm coming home to this. But if I'm at the mall and I'm looking at the floors, all I'm thinking is I can't wait to get home so I can lift my neck.
Glory.
And see glory, bro.
Amen.
So by the time I walk in there and the kitchen is on fire, my daughter's crying, my wife is screaming, blah, 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 I'm like, glory.
Amen. So I would say the why for me. Because I'm like, I think I've come to realize that there's a deep desire inside of me, bro.
Yeah.
A deep desire. There's a deep thirst that can only be quenched by God.
Yeah.
But many times I try fulfill that desire or meet that desire with counterfeits. In this sense, it's lust, where it's just like, okay, I have this deep desire for God, for eternity, for the ultimate intimacy. But until I'm there, I'm going to try squeeze in this.
Sure.
And what I've come to realize as the why to why I'm protecting my marriage, protecting myself, or starting by protecting myself to protect the marriage, is simply because I'm like, I want to preserve that desire for it to be met the best way possible.
Sure.
And on this side, the best way possible for me to fill that desire, even though it's incomplete, is through loving my wife.
Yeah, hundreds.
It's through sharing that intimacy with my wife. There's no amount of wealth. There's no amount of recognition, fame. There's nothing that can fill that void. But one of the things that can come close that God has provided is intimacy with my wife.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times it's just about reminding myself of that. For Ejo, listen, in the moment, a counterfeit looks real, bro. Like, it looks legitimate, you know?
Yeah.
In the moment, it would look like it's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
But you've been through enough life to know that. Listen, it's
you
not.
know where this thing ends, bro.
It's not. So for me, I would say that's the why as to why I protect myself and protect my marriage.
Bro, sometimes I'm glad I grew up where I grew up. Right? I wouldn't raise my kids there.
Yeah.
Because it was rough. But people paid school fees for me with their lives. Sad.
Yeah.
You know? So I've seen uncles, I've seen neighbors, I've seen, again, going back to 3-4 episodes, my own dad. I've seen brokenness.
Yeah.
It's sad, bro. It's rough. I don't want anybody to go through that. We'll make decisions, stuff, you know, and some of us dealt cards that are just whack.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get out of that, you know. But I've seen people pay school fees for me with their lives. And what I mean by that is I don't have to repeat the same mistake. You paid with your life in the school of hard knocks. If I do the same thing, I'm like, that's wasted school fees.
Yeah.
That's a wasted life.
Yeah.
That's, you know,
Sure.
that somebody unintentionally sacrificed themselves by bad decisions, cards that they were dealt for them, etc., whatever. But I was there to see how easily dudes left because they were chasing a skirt, and how that
Sure.
affected their families, right? That we are grown now, and some of those kids whose dads bounced because they were chasing a skirt either have a warped view of relationships and marriage because of the hurt that they've experienced, or worse, they perpetuate that hurt. Because if that happened to me, I need to continue doing that, to other people. I'm like, bro, I'm not doing that, dog.
Sure.
I can't, dog.
And
If I'm gonna appear weak, let it be so. But
but you can't keep this going. You can't keep fanning this flame.
No, I'm gonna have a wife who's happy. I'm gonna have a daughter who's happy. It's okay. No, but indota must. This indota must protect. And part of protection is, mfana, there's skirts wherever. I'm like, hey, mfana, go make sure that those skirts are okay without me. I'm not going there, dog. We're not doing that, dog.
So you would say the lack of protection over one's eyes leads to the fatherlessness that we have in our nation today.
Hundreds. Broken marriages, broken families. Yeah,
Which
bro,
leads to a broken state.
Yeah.
In as much as we don't want to accept it. But
Yeah.
the reason why the country is the way it is,
Yeah.
the reason why, I don't know if I can say it on a public platform, but I'm just like, the future of this country is, for me personally, it's concerning. Where I'm just like,
1,000,
a bright
bro.
future sounds poetic.
1,000. Yeah.
Is it a reality
Yeah.
in South Africa?
Yeah.
As people that are living in Joburg,
Don't play games, bro.
the center, like the melting pot of culture
Yeah.
in South Africa, and with influence coming or influence like disseminating throughout Africa,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what the future of this country is like if we keep chasing the skirts.
Bro, as men.
I'm like, if we do
As men.
that,
Yeah.
we're gonna solve a lot.
Yeah.
If we can exercise self-control
Yeah.
against our lust.
Yeah. Bro, we're not sitting here saying we don't have lust.
No,
we don't,
that's
not
why we're
sitting
having the
here
conversation.
saying that we don't have struggles. But which then maybe goes to how we protect and fight, right? But Mfana, this is imperative, dog. Our future depends on it, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Our wives' well-being depend on it.
Yeah.
Our kids' future depends on it, If we're going to raise a generation of kids who have a better chance of making this world a better place, why would I set up my kid? Why would I give them a false start? Why would I give them a rough setup, bro? Right? Or even say, why would I set them up?
Sure. For this kind of thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, bro.
And it's all because of uncontrolled eyes. It's all because of lust that is not addressed.
Yeah.
And as you rightfully said, we're not here because we don't struggle and we look at the outside and we're like, what's going on there? We are saying, as men in a country,
100, bro.
having contributions to this country, we realize that our brokenness, if unaddressed, can go as far as to lead into the demise of this country.
Yep. And it starts with the family. Yeah, 100, bro. Starts with the fam, dog. So how do we fight, bro? How do we fight? So maybe not making it a broad thing, but where now?
I think
How do you fight your lust?
My fight started when I accepted that there's a problem internally.
Word.
When I accepted that there's something inside that's broken.
That thing doesn't make you a man. Let's just say that. Clean. Right? You're supposed to have an appetite.
You know how much work you have to do to go against the discipleship of your culture, to go against natural inclinations, to get to a conclusion that there's something broken.
Yes.
I'm not going to get into that. But
I am naturally broken.
Exactly. Naturally, I'm broken. It started with me acknowledging that there's something broken. And then when I got to that understanding of something is broken, I then got into into a less of a defensive mode, but a more of an offensive mode, where I was like, I'm tired of being on the back foot when it comes to the struggle. I'm tired of having to respond. Now it's time for me to take action
Yep.
and to put measures in place
Yep.
and to protect myself and to protect my future family. Because this all started before I even got married. Like,
Yeah.
it was that thing of I was like,
Yeah.
I think by God's grace, having the community, having the people around me that were able to then show me that, listen, if you don't deal with this now, later on it's going to mess you up. So
you up,
it started with that, where I was just like, okay, something is broken. And considering that something is broken, what am I doing about it to prevent it from manifesting or to prevent it from growing? Because what I was then also taught is that it's like it's a monster. I don't want to sound airy fairy, but it's like it's
It
a
is,
monster
bro.
that when you feed it, it grows.
Grows, bro.
You know, and if you starve it, it shrinks.
Yeah.
You know, but you starving it, you starving yourself.
Yeah.
To some respects.
Yeah.
And I realized that, and I was just like, okay, so
Yeah.
I guess there's a whole lot of starvation that's coming up. And in more practical ways, to some who might say that was very abstract, in more practical ways, I think it started with looking at my view of women, looking at my interactions with women.
Hundreds, bro.
That for me was imperative, where I was just like, first of all, as we started this conversation, I support tres. You know, it's not everyone is a Jezebel, bro. Like, calm down. You know, when it comes to this brokenness in your heart, there's a lot more work that needs to be done when you look at yourself than when you look outside.
Bro, because the thing is, let's just say this on that. And maybe if somebody feels like, oh, you guys weren't clear enough. If all the women in the world would die, my lust would still be there.
Shucks.
If all women would evaporate now and you just disappear,
Your
boom,
lust would
gone,
still be there.
my lust would still be there. Would still be there.
Because it's your brokenness.
It is me.
It's not because
It's not because women exist that I have lust.
it's not because they express themselves. It's not because they have different motives for how they dress.
Nope. It's not because there's some girl out there who thinks, me, I'm just going to be dress however so that men can see me.
And it's not because of Satan.
Nope.
At the core of it, at least.
Yeah. It's,
Sure.
It's my lust, bro. If all the women would die, leave the earth, bounce, I would still have lust.
That was a good qualifier. For anyone that could have had any misconceptions of what we're saying.
Yep.
We're not projecting. So definitely, yes, as I mentioned, my view of women and then my interactions with women, I had to see women for who they are, for who they were created to be, and then also understand that they are image bearers. How we present the image of God is different. Unfortunately, in some cases, it's not the best representation of that image. But I mean, yeah, that was besides the conversation. I was just like, these are people, they're not consumables.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
So I think when I got clear with that, then it started to dawn on me, how are you going to interact with these image bearers? You know, what are you going to do that's going to qualify that you see them as image bearers? And I think one of the more practical ways, bro, I started with looking at, I don't know where I should start because my mind is all over the place. But I was like, how I communicate with women. Let me start there. How I communicate with women online. For me, that was a big thing because I'm like, in the time where all of this started and all of this was being made clear to me, it was a time where we were on BBM, you know, and WhatsApp was not even
going
yet a
back
thing, bro. Actually, not even BBM Mix It, bro. Like, when phones used to do this.
Yeah.
You know, when
if you don't know what Mix It is, I think you're too young to watch this.
when phones used to do this, bro. Not these new flips or these Z what? No. When phones used to do this, when they did this, when the camera could rotate, where the phone was a Walkman, like in that era, bro. I used to look at how I used to interact with women, and before I came to this knowledge of my brokenness and how it's impacting my interactions with the world around me, I found that I was very nonchalant about it. I was very ill-disciplined about it. it was just for fun. That's what we'd always say. That's just for fun. It's
Yeah.
not that deep.
Yeah.
It's nothing serious. We're just having fun. So I think at that point, that's where it started, where I was like, listen, I actually do have control over how I speak to women. Because I think at that point, I was also just like, okay, if I let this slide, where's this going to end? I've always been like an end goal kind of thinker, you know? Whatever I do, I need, where does this end? And how does that make me feel? And I was like, okay, if I continue in this trajectory, it's going to end there. And I was like, I don't want to go there.
Sure.
So because of that, I was just like, you know what? Let me not entertain this. Was it easy? No.
No.
Was it always the case? Are we allowed to say hell no on this podcast? Hell no. It was never always the case. There were struggles along the way.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yes,
you just like, it's not that deep. But when I looked at that, I was like, okay, let me take control over this. Let me not undermine fellow image bearers and how I speak to them, and how I lead them on. That was a big thing. Sometimes for like stupid reasons, bro, just for your pride.
Yeah.
Just to qualify and just to affirm your manhood. You're like, I want to see how far I can take this. You have no interest in the woman.
Yeah.
No interest in her. No interest in anything. Because also at that age, you are still young. You don't know what degree you're going to study. You don't even know if you're going to go to varsity. But you're like, I want to see how far this is going to go. And I'm like...
And bro, let's say this. And we all, have a past and we've dated people, etc., etc. Particularly for guys, if we're not careful, So if you're single now and you're dating women, how you treat those women in relation to the lust that you have in your heart, that will train you and shape you, transform you to the character you're gonna carry in marriage, right?
Sure.
So if you are entertaining your lust and how you treat women before you get married, best believe you're gonna have stumbling blocks. You created those for yourself when you're in marriage.
When you're in marriage.
Right?
Sure.
And most people are not aware of that. Right? We think, man, we're just dating now and whatever,
Passing time.
Yeah, passing time. I'll be fine when I get married.
Or people who believe they need to scratch the itch before they get married.
No, you're training yourself, bro.
Like, I want to do this before I get serious.
No, you're training yourself.
No, but I want to have this fun so that I can be serious.
Yeah, you're training yourself, bro.
No, you don't get it. I want to do this so that when I'm married, I don't desire it because I've done it.
No, you're going to continue doing it.
There you have it.
You're training yourself, bro. Right? Am I saying that you can't change? Yes, people can change.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. When we got married, we did some serious thinking, and you shouldn't enter marriage having not really considered the weight of what this thing is and being mindful of it. Right? So we did put some thinking into it. I remember when I got to the place where I was like, yo, I'm desiring marriage and I want to be married, right? I think I stopped dating probably for like 2 years, right?
Sure.
And I was just like, just gonna just work on me, bro, right?
Yeah.
And then while I was working on me, I happened to then have my scales fall off and I saw my wife as hot, right?
Yeah.
But
if you were doing all those other things, that probably would have never happened.
yeah, and I
not in that
probably
way.
would have entered marriage, having to fight off certain patterns in relation to my lust. I would have fought those patterns while I was trying to establish what this thing is.
Yeah,
My marriage
yeah.
with my wife, right? But at least I had some time to like fight off certain patterns. And so by the time I got in, it was like, okay, cool, let's work on this stuff. Yes, again, my lust is still there. But there's just ways in which you interact with people of the opposite sex. That you'll definitely carry in. Right?
Sure.
Into the thing. So I'm just saying, be mindful of that while you're playing with girls.
And
be mindful of that.
I can
right?
definitely affirm how me dealing with my lust, to qualify, it's something that it's still there.
Yeah,
But
sure.
how I trained myself how to deal with it before marriage.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, as life is lifing right now,
Yeah.
I'm in a much better place as opposed to if I had not
Hundreds, bro.
trained my mind,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I've protected my wife
Yeah.
and my marriage with what I did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The choices I made 10 years ago,
Yeah.
they're protecting me now.
Yeah. I mean, ask this from a woman's perspective. Which woman would want to get married to a man who, before the man gets married, we're seeing him and how he treats women, different women, and how he, speaks of them, how he interacts with them,
Yeah.
and how there's dudes whose lust just drips off of them, where you're like, you slimy, bro. Like
Yeah.
you can't even hide the thing. You just that slimy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm like, which woman wants to marry that? Like, which self-respecting, self-honoring, a woman who has worth looks at that and thinks, "Wow,
I really
that
love
guy would be a perfect husband, right?
And a father.
A guy whose eye is wandering, just in jail, like Alice in Wonderland. Your eyes, I hear."
Alex in Wonderland.
Which woman thinks, "Wow, that guy has eyes that are busy. He might
I
see me
love
better.
that.
Yeah.
Black King.
He's trained his eyes, and so in marriage, his eyes will constantly be on me. Forget that, dog. Forget that, right? If I'm a father and my daughter comes and brings me an Alice in Wonderland, I'm like, oh, you're lying. What is this dog?
Yeah.
Look at how this guy, we're just walking down the street. Look at how he's
And he's
looking. He's got weak muscles in his neck. Nah, B.
He's a weakling.
Nah, B. Nah, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, be careful how you conduct yourself before marriage in relation to how you deal with women as a
Yeah.
man who struggles with lust.
Sure.
Because I think, again, majority of men will struggle with lust. Therefore, the conclusion is a majority of husbands will struggle with lust, right? So just be careful, bro, that you're not training yourself, that you're going to set yourself up for a hard time
Yeah.
when you do get married, right?
Sure.
Because again, how you started the thing, if the aim is to try and get you prematurely into the marriage bed, right? Your lust is going to be a big tactic.
Sure.
If the aim for married people is to get them out
out.
of the marriage bed, right?
This is the devil's aim.
The tactic is going to be your lust, bro. So be careful.
Sure.
how you mess around with that thing, dog, right?
Sure. Yeah, no. And I found that was very helpful. Honestly, that it
Yeah.
cleared a lot, bro. And the good thing is, after doing that, I was able to see the other things
Yeah.
that I could clean up, right?
Yeah.
So moving from then monitoring my interactions with women in a more practical sense, as I mentioned, how I speak to women over social media.
Yeah.
At the time, it was like Mixed. After Mixed, it evolved into like BBM. After BBM, I think that's when it was in WhatsApp. And then obviously, Instagram, or it wasn't there at the time. It was like Facebook and stuff. Me monitoring my interactions, me not being suggestive over
Yeah.
the phone.
Yeah.
I was like, that really protected me and the women I was speaking to. And I always found like women were just very comfortable around me. Men would always ask, when I'm fana, when you're killing the game, you know? Women love you. I'm like, I don't think it's that. I think it's simply just because they feel comfortable. And I remember the one time, bro, whoever's watched the episode about attractiveness and whatnot, me speaking about my insecurities, I remember around that same time when I was having those insecurities and I was like, I need to work on my character. I was like, I want to be the guy that the mothers send their daughters to.
Sure.
I want to be the guy
Sure.
that the mother sees and she's like, no, but he's a good guy, man.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And then the daughter's like, yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, shabu, you know? And then hopefully after some time, Grace Osaran. Oslagani Grace. Grace is busy laughing at me behind the camera. But I wanted to be, because I was like, obviously in the looks department,
Yes.
let's call up, you know? But I was like, at the very least, can I get a referral
I wanna be an
from
at
the
least
mother?
guy, at
You know?
least.
And my mother-in-law loves me. Like, mom's
She adores you,
and
bro.
I love her. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, mission accomplished there. But I definitely wanted to be the guy that the mothers would be comfortable referring their daughters to. And I think at that point, I was just like, if that's going to be a reality,
Sure.
I need to make sure that women are comfortable around me
Yeah.
and that mothers would be comfortable around me as a potential son-in-law, whatever. So yeah, I monitored my interactions online. And the second thing, I don't know if there's anything you actually wanted to.
No, it's cool. You can continue,
Then the
bro.
second thing, sorry, this is
Come on now.
there's a lot here. Then the second thing that I would say I was very mindful of was my online,
Yeah?
like
Yeah?
the cell phone. Before then, it wasn't Netflix. It was, I don't know, we download movies, whatever. But torrent, what do you torrent? You know,
Pirate Bay.
Pirate Bay. You know, so I was like, what I do online
Yeah,
is
yeah.
such a big thing. Because what I found was when I dealt with my interactions with women online, and I found that my interactions with women in person were also very, like, they were restricted. Like my wife always says, like, when I asked her out, she was like, I didn't even think you saw me as a woman.
Sure.
She was shocked that I even recognized her femininity.
Sure.
I was like, no, I saw you. I kept you at bay.
Yeah.
Pirate
Yeah.
Bay.
Yeah.
So I was just like, for me, when I dealt with the online interactions, which then allowed me to deal with the personal interactions, I then found that
Yeah.
it was a lot clearer for me to deal with the online.
Sure.
Because I'm like, I don't have the physical distractions.
Yes.
And I don't have, like, now it's just me and my brokenness.
Yep.
And at that point, I was like, there's so much that needs to change that I don't know if I'm going to be living with the world. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with what's happening around me. In a sense that this is what everyone is going to be doing, and I'm going to be that guy that just doesn't know.
Sure.
And I had to be comfortable with that.
Sure.
I had to
Although
come to terms with
that's
that.
a myth, bro. That's a myth. You don't need social media to be updated on
That's
what's
true.
happening in the world.
No, but it's just like with trends, you know.
Even.
when everybody's talking about,
even the news
like,
reports
it's
on
like
trends.
with the song it's very vibey. When you told me what that song meant, I was like, okay, hectic, you know. For me, I was just like, man, this is a sound we know from the hood. I love this.
Yes.
But when you told me, I was like, shucks, okay, so maybe I shouldn't be as comfortable having it
But it's
around.
not even with that example. It wasn't that you weren't aware of the song. You just didn't know what it meant.
No, but what I'm saying is because I'm not on the socials like the average Joe. I
But
was
it's also
not
the language.
yeah.
Okay.
No, but you don't have to know, because after that, I was like, okay, even if you don't understand the language,
Yes.
you would look at where does the song come up? What happens when the song is played?
Sure.
You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I was like, because I was not on the socials, I was not as active, there are
Yes.
certain things I was just like, shucks, man, in this case, it's a good thing. But there are some
Yes.
things where you're like, you just can't catch the wave. You know what I'm saying? People will be having a conversation and then inside jokes, you know?
Baraki a meme. Meme.
Oh, yeah. You get what I'm saying? Or there's a sticker that comes up on a group chat and you're just like, I
What
wish
is
I knew what
this?
this meant.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, it's one of those things. So I came to terms with the fact that I'm not going to be updated
Yeah.
with the latest funny thing
Sure.
or with the latest cool thing, you know?
Sure.
But in me losing that, I'm also losing out the filth
Yeah.
that I could be keeping up with, you know?
It's a little sacrifice
Yeah.
to pay for the big joy of
No, definitely.
loving your wife, bro.
No, definitely. And
Yeah.
with that, then I
Yeah.
found that I need to let go of my involvement on social media. I am not as active on social media. I only use WhatsApp. Even
Yeah.
that, I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, there's a lot that's happening here. And I mean, yes, occasionally we'll check Instagram out just
Yeah.
to have our live sessions, whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, I found that I can't. It's not for me.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this because I know there are people who know us personally who are watching the podcast, and maybe they thought, oh, Prince is such a righteous. It's not. I'm not righteous. I'm not holy.
You're just fighting, bro.
I'm fighting. You know.
You're fighting.
For me to not have the Twitters, I would love to be on these social media platforms.
You're fighting.
As a creative, there are certain things that benefit me
Yeah.
when I'm on those platforms, but I'm just like, I'm not strong enough. You
Yeah,
know,
hundreds.
I can't engage in those things.
Hundreds.
And like the irony of it, sometimes I'm just like, even YouTube, bro. Like, I don't have YouTube on my phone. I decided to, whenever I watch YouTube, it'll be at home on
A
a
TV.
screen where my wife can see what's happening.
Yeah.
Or on a laptop where I know that she can pause.
Yeah.
But I'm like on my phone. And it got bad, bro. I was just like, even Google. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, hundreds, bro.
that's fine. I'll use Safari as slow as it is. But yeah, so I had to change certain things that protected me and protected my marriage when it comes to the lust and the brokenness
Yeah, sure.
that I discovered in me. And I was just like, you know what? Because of what's going on inside,
Yeah.
when I go to the malls, I'll check how clean the floors are.
Yep.
When I'm online, I'll make sure that I'm online on a more public forum
Yep.
where I don't have the exclusivity of watching what I'm watching by myself. We thank God that, you know, we can have platforms like Netflix where you can see what the other person is watching. And in this case, it helped in my marriage as well, where I was like, listen, baby girl, this is who I am. This is my brokenness as an individual. Please hold me accountable.
Hundreds.
You know what I'm saying? And for me, there's so much peace, bro. There's
Yeah.
so much peace.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I hear stories and I'm like, yeah, I would never. I don't have the capacity. I don't have the strength to go through all those troubles.
Yeah.
Yo, the insecurities that develop from a man with eyes that run around. I'm just like, I cannot.
Bro, that's massive, bro. I'm like, yo, yeah. And then you'll start saying, but my wife is uptight, dog. She's insecure because of you, dog.
Yeah, but she's not controlling. She's just...
But my wife doesn't want us to go to that pride. Because when you were at the mall, you were looking at parties. And now she knows if you go to the pride, it's a more relaxed environment. There's going to be more women there. And she doesn't want to feel uncomfortable because we're now Alice in Wonderland. No, man.
Yes,
please,
queen.
Bro, you got this girl from her house.
You made promises to her
I
parents. Dog. You took her out of her comforts. You...
Suga, bro. Yeah, no, man.
Yeah,
Nah,
man.
dog. Yeah, I think practically another thing, just for husbands, bro, talk to your wife, man. And let me qualify this by unpacking it. You don't have to tell your wife every time your lust raises its head. Then you're going to make her insecure.
We need to double tap on that.
You will make her insecure.
Because if I'm hearing, does it mean I have to lie to my wife?
No, you don't have to lie to your wife.
Let's
At
double
all.
click on it. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, the primary thing is, I'm married to her. Right? Not married to myself.
Yeah.
I'm not married to you as my accountability partner. But I need to be able to tell my wife
Yeah.
when my lust is rearing its ugly head. I should tell my wife, right? So I said able and should. So should, because this is going to protect your marriage. You should tell her.
Sure.
Because, she's praying for you. She'll keep you accountable.
yeah.
You can talk about it, etc., etc. You should be able, because I recognize that there's other wives. Once you say that, yo, man, lust is bubbling up. And for them, they'll think, "Yo,
Is it me?
something wrong with me, right? Or, which is, I think, it's hard, right? But the worst is, who the hell are you, right? That's your wife responding. Who the hell are you to have lust, right? What kind of man is this? You can't control yourself. What the hell have you been watching? Which then crushes you as a husband. And then you think, vele, let me go on my phone, vele. Right? Oh, maybe worse, let me go outside and go chill with Sapati.
Sure.
Because how could you talk to me like this?
Sure.
Right? So you should do it. It's going to save your marriage. You should be able to do it. And this is a word to the wives, right? work on how that environment is created
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
both of you
Yeah.
to speak about your issue of lust, but more for men. For the husband to be able to come to the wife and say, yo, listen, I'm struggling, right?
Sure.
Because again, that leads to why you should. It's going to save your
Yeah.
marriage, right? But then for the husband, you don't have to tell your wife all the time. It's going to crush you. That's where you come
The
in.
accountability comes in, yeah.
So you come in, that's where Simba comes in, that's where David comes in, right? I am, if David would take out my files in the publics, my life would be
done.
over. Done. David knows everything, right?
Yeah.
I'm not married to him. He can carry that burden of knowing every single nook and cranny of my struggle.
Sure.
He has to. Because if I don't tell him, that is gonna it's gonna be the very thing that's my downfall. If I strive or live in secrecy, I'm gonna die.
So are you saying a husband, a healthy husband, should pursue having someone
Yeah.
outside of their wives
Yeah.
that they can just...
Yeah. You have to.
Not see party.
Not Sabat. A man. A man. Right? David is that.
Sure.
You and Simba as well.
Yeah.
But more so with him because obviously I'm with him more.
Yeah. Yeah.
We work together. But he knows everything. Right? If my lust rears its ugly head, I'm like, yo, Mdav, it's tough today, my dog. Yo, what's up? Let's talk. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's pray. How are we going to fight this thing? Let's go at it, right?
Yeah.
But that dude knows everything.
And
Clean.
The beauty of that, to people who are not familiar with the concept of community or walking in this kind of way, the beauty of that is that when we are together, we can protect each other
Yeah.
because of that.
Yeah.
Where
Here's my marriage's best interest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He knows your wife personally, and he
Yeah.
wants us. It will never be that thing of your wife is like, you and your boys.
No.
Because your boys are busy pushing you closer to your wife.
No. Yeah.
Where they're just like, yo, my dog, we know your struggles.
Yeah.
We know you.
Yeah.
Bear this, and we're not going to go to this place. We're going to go to this place.
Hundreds.
We're not going to do this. We'd rather do this.
Hundreds,
Because
bro.
we are all invested in our marriages
Yep.
and in our partners. Personally, we're just like, if you, and I always tell my wife and I tell people, I'm like, if I do anything sideways to you, babe,
Yeah.
there are men who love God wholeheartedly that serve Him week in, week out.
We'll
that are
pick you
gonna
up.
come punch me.
We will pick you
in
up.
the face.
We will pick you up.
Because they're like, you are not going to. And I mean, it's not just my aunt. I've got this one aunt. If I try,
Batlo dila luena, man. But that's what we're
listen.
saying. If we're speaking of a future that's built in a country that has a bright future, that's built on the cornerstone, or rather one of the building blocks. It's not the cornerstone, but one of the building blocks being families. Families are made up by couples who are married, who have kids, right? So, or just couples who are together, that's a family, hundreds. But I'm like, if that's gonna survive,
yeah,
then you cannot be a married couple alone.
sure,
You're not a society alone.
sure,
You need other people. And so I'm like, I hang out with gents who believe in that. That's the
Yeah.
vision that we both, or all of us, believe in. And so we're all gonna fight towards that.
Yeah.
And if you messing up, we're gonna deal with you, bro. We have to deal with you.
because it's not just your marriage, but you're messing up the community.
You're messing up the country, bro.
Sharks,
You're messing up the country, dog. We have to deal with you, bro. Right?
sure.
And so, before we lay hands on you, we might as well lift up hands for you.
Yes,
Right?
I urge men to lift up holy heads
Before we lay them,
before we lay them.
let's lift them up,
Lift them
dog.
when they come down. Hey,
Right? But all that to say again, I think you should be able to speak to your wife. And I would say you have to speak to your wife.
Yeah.
But then wives, please, let's fight to enable an environment where the husband can come speak to you, right? And then husband, you don't have to lay it all on your wife because that will definitely
break her.
You know, Mvana, it will break her. It's gonna overwhelm her. She's gonna go into her own mind, be insecure. but find a man who you gonna lay it on. Dog,
Sure.
listen, here's all the other stuff I can't give to my wife, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It needs to come out. I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
He's giving me all his stuff that he can't lay on his wife. And then we go back to our wives, lay the stuff that we know they can't handle, right? Because life still has to continue,
Yeah.
right? But it's what I said at the beginning. Me giving the stuff to David is me saying I'm loving my wife when she's not watching as well, right? Because if I don't, I'm either gonna go to Sapati
Yeah.
or I'm gonna come burden her, which is still gonna crush her, right? So I need to love her, right?
Sure.
And part of loving her is I can come talk to you, bro. Lay all the stuff, give it to you, so that when I go back to her, I've loved her. I'm pure. I'm clean in my intentions. I'm clean in my movements, right? So I'm not coming home and I'm dodging stuff and
Yeah.
living a double life or whatever, right? I've seen how speaking to my wife, and it's happened. We were together, we were working, and yes, my heart was jumping, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, the heart was doing somersaults and
Your
backflips.
breakdown. Your brokenness was
On
only breakdancing.
fire.
Yeah.
The muscles in my neck were weak. Who's there? My wife.
Sure.
I pulled my wife to the side, bro. Girl, you need to lift up hands. It's tough today.
Sure.
It's tough, right? But I'm like, had I not had that conversation with my wife before, had I not been honest, had I not, that would have been a weird thing for her, especially
Yeah.
in public.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the hell? What's going on
then,
with you?
Wena?
Yeah, Dinsang. But in that moment, literally, bro, right? Like, bro, it's in public,
Sure.
right? Me and her at work, we're supposed to do stuff. And I'm like, girl, it is rough.
That's rough.
Pulled her to the side. I was like, girl, today my heart is doing somersaults, bro. She wasn't like,
bro.
let's keep honey. Blah, 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 blah. She was just like, I dope. What do you need me to do? Like, lift up hands, girl. You have to pray. All right, cool. Let's do it. Right? And then after that, dog, she's leaning in even closer. All right? All right? What's up, dog? Okay, cool. Should we strengthen the muscles in your neck? All right, cool. And the sweetest thing my wife said in that moment, bro, and I say sweet because it was a grace, bro. And that's when I was like, Lord Jesus, thank you for friendship. Right?
I actually wanted to step back a bit to a point you made earlier when we were speaking about community. And I remember speaking to my wife. When I started dating my wife, she was not familiar with the concept of like dating in community.
Yeah.
And this was like something I was trying to convey to her. And I wanted to say this just so that people are aware of the benefit of community, where I was like, one of the most loving things I can do for you is to provide you with a community of accountability that is going to hold me accountable to loving you better.
Yeah, 100,
And I
bro.
think that's one of the best things any husband one of the best gifts you can gift your wife as a husband,
Yeah.
as a community that is going to continuously encourage you to love her more,
1,000,
that is going to force you out of complacency, that is going to remind you, and I'll say this in more palatable terms, but that is going to remind you when you feel like you're killing the game that, listen, calm down, you're not.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not.
Chill.
You're not it, bro.
Chill.
It's okay. Yeah. We see that you did it, but
Relax.
calm down.
Relax.
Come back to earth.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is one of the best things that I could give you.
Sure.
Because I'm like, it's insurance.
Yeah.
It's insurance, and it's just like, I'm insuring this relationship by giving you that assurance.
Yeah.
That I'll
100,
always have people that are pushing me closer to you, not people that are gonna try and fight for my attention away from you.
100,
Have you loved your wife? And if you haven't, then
Yeah.
once gure.
Yeah.
Once.
Once, bro.
And I'm like, that for me was something that I was very intentional about. And at first she was just like, okay, cool. I don't get it. But she's eating the sweet fruit
Yeah,
from
bro.
the tree of accountability.
There's no other way, bro.
Yeah.
There's not.
Yeah.
We can't do this marriage thing alone, dog.
Sure,
There's
sure.
a lot at risk because there's a lot that's attacking marriage.
Yeah.
So we can't do this alone. Not at all.
Sure.
Not at all.
But I also liked how you mentioned that being able to go to your wife and say, listen,
That thing is empowering.
bro,
Lust, Satan, the world, whatever other trap is there, right, bro? It melts away. Because remember what my lust is trying to do. My lust is trying to make me think that my wife is not the hottest thing,
yeah,
right? And
Basically.
the hottest thing is when my wife is like, "Yo, we're gonna kill this. I'm with you."
when you're not alone. Yeah,
Fire, bro. And that's why I'm like, wives, enable your husband to have a space to talk about.
like you have
the
that
struggle.
power as a woman.
And hear me correct. I'm not saying that if your husband is out there twerking on the streets,
Yeah.
trying to be with every sipati, I'm saying, no, let him go twerk on the streets and come back and tell you about it. Nah, dog. That he needs to be dealt with, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying a dude who loves you, dude who cares, a dude who's fighting his lust because he knows the importance of remaining pure and loving to you and does not want you to be insecure, doesn't want his marriage to be compromised, doesn't want his family to be left vulnerable. Yo, man, please give that dude a space, bro, to talk.
Shucks.
He let him not just find space outside of your marriage, because just as much as I am naked with you as my brothers, I'm not married to y'all, man.
Yeah.
I'm married to my wife, and my wife has to know part of my struggle because I'm gonna be married to her forever, and my struggle is gonna be the detriment of us.
Yeah.
If it's left unchecked,
Sure.
so she needs to be let in. And letting her in means she's allowing me space to talk about the thing, right? Bro, we've had several points in our marriage where we spoke about that. That one time I just mentioned now, but I remember there was a time, bro, it was a 4th anniversary. And we started doing this probably at like 2nd or 3rd anniversary, where we would intentionally celebrate our anniversary, go away. But the intention was day 2. So we arrive wherever we're going. Day 2, the whole day was just dedicated to taking stock.
Sure.
And we open. Clean. Nothing is left unturned, bro.
Sure.
Right? The whole day. So, how are you doing with your lust? Bra. Talk. How could I help? Bah. Okay, why did you do that thing there? Clean. Right?
And you've probably found that over the years, you can identify God's grace and how he sustained you.
$1 million cash. Rent.
Sure.
Billion. Clean, bro. But those conversations allow then for the moment when the muscles in my neck are weak, bro. For me to be like, girl, hey, I'm falling here. Right? For her not to be like, what's wrong with your neck, bro? Right? I'm like, hey, girl, stuff is rough. And then she can be like, yo, pull through. Come here. What's going on? Right?
Sure.
And vice versa. Right? So I'm like, bro, it's like just being open and honest and clean. I'm like, that has given our marriage a chance to live. Right? It's given us space to breathe. It's given us a sober approach
Yeah.
to our struggles with lust. You know.
Yeah.
So for me, bro, I'm like, dog, again. And I say this in most episodes, bro. Talk, bro.
Yeah.
Talk, my dog.
Yeah.
Talk.
Are there any other ways you would say we've found helpful in protecting ourselves and our marriages from lust that we haven't addressed? We spoke about how we engage the online world. We spoke about
That's a
how
big
we-
one. That's a big one. And I would end there. I don't know if you had something to add, but let me end here. You can go to the mall and see how clean the floors are, right? You can come to church and be protected because at least in our circles, our sisters, you know, consider us and dress modestly, which is a conversation we can have later.
Yeah.
But your phone. Or you can go to work and maybe you guys have a dress code at work, so you might feel protected, quote unquote. But your phone and your thoughts. Bro, for me, that's where the stuff falls.
Shucks.
That's where I feel you give leeway to then go hunt outside as well.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So I think
That's the starting block.
yeah, I think you feed your lust enough, and you have to then satisfy your lust, right? So you're there watching porn, you're there messing around on the Instagram explore page,
Yeah.
right? You're there googling things you're not supposed to Google, right? And you're messing around with all that stuff, dog, right? And that feeds your lust, grows your monster, and once your monster is grown, right, turns you into a monster. And you want to go eat, bro, outside.
And
Right?
sorry, let me not.
No, hundreds, bro.
Yeah. So and the thing that we know, even from a medical point of view, is that is a desire that keeps growing.
Yeah.
It's like, what did one person say? Something about, it's like drinking water from the ocean or salt water, where you keep getting thirsty,
But you're
and
thirsty,
you keep
bro.
wanting more.
Yeah.
And it's just,
You're
the
thirsty, dog.
reality is that that's a monster that's going to grow. But then on the flip side, I'm just like, imagine if that monster is actually a desire that is growing within marriage. How can I love my wife more? How can I find different ways of loving my wife? How can I find different ways of being fulfilled sexually in marriage? And that for me was then the other thing where I was just like, one of the most helpful things that I found when it comes to my lust is how I have found fulfillment sexually
From your wife, bro.
from my wife.
That thing crushes your
I'm
lust,
like, bro, like with a healthy sex in marriage, it is so much easier.
Yep.
It is like, and my wife knows.
Yep.
Again, by God's grace, having a partner that knows that by doing this, by loving you in this way, I'm actually protecting you as my husband. Like, you just lighter, man.
Hundreds, bro.
And you just feel safer when you're walking out in the streets.
Yep.
You know? Yes, you'll
Yep.
still walk looking down at the floor.
Yep.
But you're like, in the event that you look up and
And it's easier to look at the floor, bro, when you're thinking, oh, these floors are clean. Oh, and my wife's boring.
me, I said it. I love my wife and her body.
Done,
we
bro.
love our partners so much that there's so much to discover in them.
Bro, that's what marriage is.
Yeah.
I'm going to discover stuff about my wife's body for as long as we're alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And my ability to explore better grows if I am training on the same turf that I'm exploring.
That's the only explore page that matters.
Done. If I'm playing on a soccer field, right? That's why teams have home ground advantage because you train at home.
Yeah.
So when you have the match at
You
home,
play better.
you know the grounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm only playing at
If
home.
you wanna be a player.
And I'm
Yeah.
only training at home, bro.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
And it's a myth, bro. It's a myth that you have to go outside and taste. And that thing drains your soul. That thing ruins your relationships. Dopamine spikes are how mfana is always it's a drug.
Yeah.
It destroys you, bro.
Yeah.
Right? The emotional capacity that you were designed to have is for one person.
Yeah.
Right? And that is supposed to be shaped, molded, grown in different degrees by that depth of the relationship you have with that one person. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you just live having shallow relationships everywhere, shallow emotional encounters, shallow mental connections.
The formula for loneliness.
Bro, you are killing yourself, bro.
Yeah,
You are
yeah.
destroying yourself. I'm becoming a better man. I'm becoming a better husband, a better leader, a better father, a better friend because I'm drinking from the same well, dog. Right?
Yes, sir.
Drinking from the same well, loving the same wife, having sex with the same wife. It's teaching me patience.
Yeah.
It's teaching me how to love deeply.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
teaching me how to have fun.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm exploring the same person. Bro, it is growing me in many ways than if I would compromise myself. Right? Entertain every lustful thought I have.
Yeah.
Go online, try and entertain that through porn, try and entertain that through the explore page, or even worse, go outside, right,
Yeah.
and play with a bunch of sipatis. Who am I at the end of that, dog? I don't even know who I am because I've given myself to everything, right?
Sure.
Worse than I mess up my wife. Worse, I mess up my daughter. Worse, my family is destroyed. Then who am I, Vele?
Bruh.
Right? I'm like, it's not worth it, dog. It is not worth it. right?
Sure.
Don't believe the lie that you are a man just because, not dog, restrain. That's what meekness is, dog. Right? Do I have propensity to go up your sogalama? Hey,
A
I
real
can,
man.
but I won't, bro. I choose not to. Right?
Sure.
Choose not to, because this is a better path. This is better for me. It's better for those that I'm supposed to be leading and loving. Right? So, dog, lust is not going to win. It shouldn't win. Right?
Sure.
And I need to be fighting and actively putting things in place to make sure that at the end of this journey,
Yeah.
right, my kids will look at us and say, yes, man, they did this thing imperfectly so, but look at how much they've grown in love. We should be doing the same thing, right? Look at how many other people would be impacted by you just... We know of couples who are old, bro, been married for 40 years, 38 years, etc., etc. And I look at that and I'm like, oh, like they didn't get there easily, but this is beautiful. This is
Yeah.
what I want.
Yeah.
This is the kind
Yeah.
of legacy you want to leave. Right? Look at the kids that they're raising. Look at the societies that they've impacted. Just look at how they've grown. You know, so much so, bro, where you start seeing couples that look like each other. I'm like, people were in each other's lives that long, and it's so deep, bro. Yes, there's struggle, there's pain, there's all of this stuff, but there's also joy, there's beauty, there's splendor, dog. There's just, it's glory, dog.
Yeah,
Right? So I'm
yeah.
like, just have a bigger vision and fight for it, dog. Don't be tempted by temporary pleasures that are not going to satisfy you in the long run or at
Yeah.
the end, but are going to leave you vulnerable and potentially destroy your family. Why?
Sure.
Why? Fight, bro. Fight. That's what an
Yeah.
Indoda does.
No, definitely, definitely. And I think to that point, bro, I would then close with saying, I think our natural feelings and our natural dispositions are not always a good compass. And we should steer clear from thinking that because I feel this way about masculinity or manhood, or because I heard what people are saying and how I feel affirms what they're saying, therefore it's truth. That's a lie. That is the biggest lie.
Yeah.
Like it's
Bro, you've seen broken families and marriages and you've seen good ones. There's the evidence.
broken families and broken marriages are partly a result of men who did what they felt was right.
Yep.
That's it.
They followed their natural desires.
They felt, I need to scratch this itch, I need to fulfill this desire. They pursued it, and 2023 South Africa,
Yep.
Joburg.
Yep.
And that's why we're here,
Yep.
trying to celebrate being better husbands.
Yep.
Trying to shine the light on the impact of being better husbands.
Yep.
These last 2 episodes have been emotional. At least they've ended on quite emotional notes. But your parting shots, bro. What would you say to
Bro,
husbands
I
out there?
think I've said enough, bro. Yeah.
No, I think I've said enough as well.
2.5.
That is what it is.
Peace.
Peace.